Well, you know what? I'm going to look it up real quick and see if I can find it. The guy who invented float tanks was really into ketamine, and he actually created yeah, here it is. It's so funny he did this, but he created a dosage chart where he actually mapped the experiences out based on milligram dosages. If you look it up, just John Lilly ketamine chart. So he's got here now. I don't know because I was like insulfating. I have no idea like what the injection what this means compared to like snorting it. But at 30 milligrams, you've got something he's calling internal reality. 75 milligrams, which he calls I. 75 milligrams they extraterrestrial reality. 150 milligrams we the network of creation, and then 300 milligrams unknown.
Wow, dude. Like what you just described there really, I think, reinforces my personal experiential theory that there's something absolutely spiritual in drugs, and particularly even in ketamine. But
Oh God, ketamine is like one of my friends who writes all these books on the occult calls it occult cocaine. It's such a occult substance. It's something about the dissociative effect. It opens up I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but I think you go into alternate universes and
sure, here's what I think is that like we are sort of relegated to this physical reality, or sorry, physical illusion in this third dimensional sort of compartment. And I
yeah,
believe that when we ingest, certain chemicals and a variety of chemicals, that what we do is we essentially erode the barriers in between said apartments and kind of open
yeah,
ourselves up to entities from other dimensions. And it's
totally.
it's a dangerous thing to do with drugs because with drugs, when you those barriers that we are eroding are essentially protective in a number of ways, and by eroding the barriers we open ourselves up to sort of all all things other dimensional, and that comes with a lot of like very low frequency. And low frequency I would
Absolutely.
categorize as demonic, like demons, and high
Sure.
frequency being like sort of angels. So when I was, at the end of my run with drugs and alcohol, I was like fucking routinely, and I was so excited about it because I felt privy to what was going on, like in other dimensions with spiritual beings. So I just couldn't keep piling in enough drugs to keep it
Yeah.
happening. Like the hallucinations that I was having, both visual, like hearing the voices, audio, like tactile, where you actually feel it.
Yeah.
I loved
That's
it.
the problem. See, this is what I love about Ram Dass. One of my teachers is Ram Dass, you've heard of him? This guy
I
who wrote Be Here Now.
Yeah.
it rings a bell.
He was hanging out with Tim Leary at Harvard, and they were the professors. They got kicked out of Harvard because they were like taking LSD and giving LSD to the students, and because they were interested from at first because they were both like really brilliant psychologists. And this was a new substance, and they thought they had sort of like discovered what was going to be the next phase of human evolution, or a nootropic that was going to like completely accelerate the civilization. They get kicked out of Harvard. At the time, Ram Dass's name was Richard Alpert, and so they're like exactly where any of us have been, where we're running into this seemingly like built into the matrix inhibition thing that they currently, what do they call it, tolerance. And so they're literally drinking LSD, like Sandoz Laboratory 1960s LSD, out of vials, like liquid LSD, drinking it because
Not
their
even not
tolerance.
even droppers.
He said, this will bring you into the presence of Christ, but the problem is you can't stay there with this. And it was like just the most brilliant articulation of the problem with these substances, which is like, it's
Right.
affirming what we all already know. Holy fuck, it's showing me what's inside the Ark of the Covenant. Like I'm seeing past the veil, and it's real. Whether or not sober people or people who've never tripped want to believe that, what can we do? But it's real. It's something. You're seeing something more than just like mashing your brain. But also, you can't fucking stay there because it's like we're in school here. We got to go to
Right.
school here right now. Like that's what we're doing here. You don't get to play hooky too much. It's like built in.